Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. You know, I've made it kind of it's the center focus, I guess, of this channel, is to try to get people prepared, get you to open your mind and to realize what the world is really like and the direction that it's most likely headed. And also, hopefully, to get you to see that our dependency on everything being just right is a huge vulnerability. That the systems around us that we're dependent upon, whether it's food or energy, everything, social services, police services, fire, EMS, all that kind of stuff. All of that stuff is actually a very fragile system. And even during good times, it can all be overwhelmed pretty quickly and leave you with nothing, leave you vulnerable because you don't have the things that you might need to take care of you. And that's during good times. When things start to get really bad, when the economy starts to get even worse than it is, and it's already pretty bad, when just our society starts to kind of crumble a little bit more. Just a few more illegals, just a little bit more drug use, just a little bit more insanity, just a little bit more breakdown of society as a whole. All of these things that we all depend upon, well, they're going to become much less available, to the point of maybe not available at all. And so I've tried to open minds to realize that that's how it is. It doesn't have to be the end of the world apocalypse. Just in recent, and I'm speaking of, say the last decade, and you could go back further than that if you wanted, two or three decades. But there have been multiple times in our history, and just America, that we have seen breakdowns of these systems. Maybe it's because of natural disasters or terrorist attacks, or some other breakdown. And a lot of times they're temporary, and a lot of times they're regional or local, but they still happen. As this, I don't even know what's the best overall word to use, but this disease, this problem that is happening in our society, where everything is just, it's all falling apart. I mean, it's all orchestrated. We know that. We know that they're pulling the plugs and they're tugging on the ropes and everything to make these things happen. But as it happens, things are just progressively going to worsen, and it means that the more that you're dependent upon these systems, are going to be progressively becoming more vulnerable to them. And so that's the real big. The big thing that I'm trying to get across to you. And how often do you think about this? How often do you think, what's going to happen if things start to break down a little bit more, or the system is just overwhelmed? Maybe it's not so much that it's broken down, but it's just overwhelmed. It's overwhelmed because of crime. It's overwhelmed because of more people, an influx of illegals or migrants or refugees or just people. An influx of disease, an influx of drug use, things like that. And then you need to call 911 because you have a medical emergency. What are you going to do then? When you have to wait too long, or you just have to do it yourself because it's not there. Well, what about police services to protect you from violent people? There's also already many areas of this country where it's almost pointless to call the police to protect you. They may be able to come and file a report afterwards, but the hopes that they would get there in time to protect you is becoming much less likely in large swaths of this country. What about food? What do you do when there's not enough food available? Or what do you do when the price is too much? Already many families in this country are struggling with the decision of paying bills or buying groceries. They're taking on extra jobs. They're buying groceries on credit because they can't even afford to put food in their mouths. What happens when that becomes even worse? What are you going to do? How are you going to feed your family? What about other things that you might need? Just energy. Heating your home, putting fuel in your vehicle. What are you going to do when that's dried up or it's unavailable? What do you do when all of these things that we're talking about are still available, but they're only available for certain people? They're only available because you have bought in and accepted certain currencies or certain identifications or certain certifications that you are clean and clear and able to, go out in public and purchase and procure these items. What if you don't fall into that and you're not allowed to get them? Have you thought about these things? Have you planned for it? Because this really is the overall goal of what I'm trying to do here, is to wake people up. I talk about it in a sense of circling, the wagons or awakening the lions. Yes, I'd hoped at some point to kind of wake people up that are dead asleep, and sometimes that may happen, but I think most of my focus is just kind of rejuvenating the ones that are already awake to this fact. They're just maybe not doing anything. And for those of you that are doing stuff, that are getting ready, that are taking proactive measures, I'm hoping to push you along even further, because these things are happening. They are happening right now. They may not be happening like a Hollywood movie where it all takes place in a 90-minute time period, but they are happening nonetheless. They're happening at a pace that it's just slow enough that we become accustomed to it. The things that are taking place right now today, the state of the economy that we've seen progress over the last 3 years, if it all happened at once, say 3 or 4 years ago, there would have been calamity everywhere. People would have just lost it, that things all of a sudden happen this way overnight. But if they stretch it out over a period of a few years, people tend to, acclimate to it, and they convince themselves that it's still not that bad. I mean, yeah, it's not great, but life still exists somewhat normal, right? This new normal is different, but it's still okay to a certain extent. And of course, I believe that's the plan. You and I need to be aware of this stuff. We need to be aware of what's going on, and we need to be proactively preparing our lives for it, our families, our loved ones, our community, because this trend, this path that we're on, it's not going to change for quite a while, if ever. We're going to progressively see this happen. Imagine what it's going to be a year from now, or 2 or 3 years from now. And if you had the chance to start preparing for that, would you? If you knew for certain that 12 months from now it's going to be substantially worse than it is now. Think back again 3 or 4 years ago when things were, fairly good. If you had known then, 4 years ago, that the world was going to be just like it is today, would you have been more proactive and been more sacrificial in things so that you are prepared properly? Most of you would probably be correct in saying yes. And we have to assume that it's going to continue to go this direction. We've, I believe, passed that point of no return. Of course, that's my opinion, but I believe we have passed that point of no return of it not really getting any better soon. It's unlikely things are going to just turn around, and we have to prepare that way and assume that that's going to continue happening. So when you feel burnout, I've heard that lately, that a lot of people are starting to feel burnout. They're kind of done with it. They're over it. They either want it to just hurry up and happen or leave them alone. And they're just sick and tired of what's going on. And they're feeling this burnout when it comes to preparedness, when it comes to trying to get themselves and their family ready for what's coming, because it's in some ways can be depressing. We can't allow that to happen. We have to keep pushing forward. We have to continue preparing ourselves, motivating, find ways to self-motivate ourselves, and then also encourage others around us. In case you haven't noticed, in channels like mine on the comments, there's always those people that are discouraging. They're always mocking and making fun of. They're trolling. Some of it's probably paid trolls. Some of it they're just infiltrators and whatever. And some of them they're just negative people. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to them. No, maybe what you're doing isn't correct always, and maybe what I say isn't always the correct thing to say, but at least we're trying. At least we're doing things. And that's far more than most of the world is doing. So don't let them get you down. Keep pushing yourself. Keep pushing yourself to be more prepared in all ways. And keep pushing yourself to develop and build relationships and families and friends and tribe and community, because those things are going to be far more valuable than most of your preps. Having a circle of people around you that you can really trust and really work together. Having that kind of stuff is going to be very important in the future. It's important already, and it's going to just continue to gain in importance. Don't give up. Don't give up, and don't get discouraged. A lot of bad things are happening, and they're going to continue to happen. But that most certainly is not a reason to kind of throw in the towel now. You've gone too far. It's far too late to do that. Keep pushing yourself. Keep stocking up. Keep building your preps. Keep developing your skills. And keep drawing closer to the family and the friends and the Father in heaven, because those are the important things. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.